Hello and welcome. I am Gimba Umar. Tonight, federal government moves to stop execution of 3 Nigerians in Indonesia. Ask authorities to commute death sentence to life imprisonment. Chibok community rejects the offer to rebuild a school under the federal government's Safe School initiative. Also assures the state governor of peddling falsehood. The federal government launches scheme for empowering girls and women, says development is incomplete without them. And 9 foreign oil workers have been kidnapped by Islamic State militants in an attack on a Libyan oil field.
On business news, the Central Bank of Nigeria disagrees with the proposed amendments to the Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation Act.
And on sports news, Super Sand Eagles qualifies for the African Beach Soccer Championships following Libya's withdrawal from the qualifier.
We'll begin tonight from the Federal Capital Territory, where empowering the women and children appears to be the reason why President Goodluck Jonathan flagged off the G-Win scheme. The event, which took place in Abuja, gave opportunities to the Ministries of Communication, Technology, Agriculture to present to Nigerians what they have done so far with the funds made available for the projects. According to the Minister of Finance, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, a unique budgetary approach has been adopted by the federal government to execute it. Our correspondent Olumide Macaulay reports.
My name is Jen Uwunaya from FGGC, Umuahia. The Digital Girls Club has influenced me a lot in positive ways. I have been able to showcase and improve my potentials in science and technology.
That's what the project is all about. Empowering girls and women for Nigeria's growth. G-Win, as explained by the facilitators.
When girls and women are economically empowered, infant mortality declines, agricultural productivity rises, population growth is moderated, cycles of poverty are broken, and economies expand and grow.
The leaders in the sectors harnessing G-Win then gave an account of what they so far had achieved. First, agriculture.
The approach that we took was to select members from each women cooperative groups nationwide. We selected outer value chains with import substitution values. And then we focused on processing, on training, and beyond training, we provided starter packs.
Then communications technology.
The role of the Ministry of Communication Technology in the G-Win program is to ensure that it's to reverse this gender-specific online gap and also close the digital gender divide. And we're doing this through our interventions in 3 major flagship programs: the Digital Girls Club, the 1000 Girls ICT Training Program, and the Smart Woman Nigeria project.
Health.
We implemented 2 G-Win components. That is the obstetric fistula and recto-vaginal fistula. For those who are not medically qualified or not medically educated, BBF and RBF, these are 2 most horrible medical conditions.
The burden of proof lightened by the testimony of these beneficiaries.
It has made me exposed to so many skills that I thought I wouldn't know. For example, the programming languages, Python, COBOL, BASIC, how to use it and its functions.
She's so happy. She really appreciates this project and the work of the people that are involved.
The president made an unscheduled appearance.
Women and men must together move our society forward. And in any society that tries to sideline women or don't maximize the values we have in our women, of course, you are reducing their chances of growth.
The G-Win project also covers the Ministry of Works and Water Resources and also has international recognition from the African Development Bank and the World Bank. A worthy endeavor if this girl's testimony can become the same for all girls.
This has helped me to decide what I want to be in life. I know definitely I have an opportunity in the ICT industry, and this is through the creation of this club.
Olumide Macaulay, Channels Television News.
Well, now the federal government is asking the Indonesian authorities to commute the death sentence of 3 Nigerians to life sentence. The appeal is coming against the backdrop of news that one of those sentenced will be executed at an isolated island in Indonesia. Well, the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Danjuma Sheni, said that Nigerian government is also hopeful that Indonesia would hasten ongoing negotiations on the exchange of prisoners between both countries to enable Nigeria prisoners have the option of serving their sentences at home.
We want to appeal to you and through you to your government that this death sentence that may be carried out on Mr. Salami any moment from now should be converted to life imprisonment. I'm also, to use this occasion, Your Excellency, to appeal to you on the need to quickly complete the ongoing exchange of prisoners negotiation that we have with your country. We wish that this be completed on time so that our nationals who may be caught up there would have the opportunity to serve their sentences in Nigeria.
We have still recognized the death penalty in our criminal justice system in some serious crime in Indonesia, including terrorism and narcotics and some other things. And we do apply these executions to those who are adult, and we will not apply to children, pregnant women, or mentally ill persons. And we also have already make known that doing this trafficking, narcotic trafficking in Indonesia is risking your death penalty before even you come to Indonesia.
Well, the Nigerian army has begun the trial of 22 army officers over alleged negligence and complicity during the raid of the 21 Artillery Brigade, Bama, Borno State, on September the 22nd of last year by Boko Haram. They include a Brigadier General, 4 Colonels and 7 Lieutenant Colonels. The General Court-Martial is being presided over by Major General S.D. Aliu. The officers are accused, among other offences, of cowardly behaviours, which is set to attract the death penalty. When our crew visited the Ikeja cantonment venue of the court-martial, they were refused access by military authorities, saying that the case is not for public coverage. Well, several army officers have been court-martialed and sentenced since the beginning of the onslaught against insurgents in the northeast for various offences, especially for betraying the anti-terror cause. Our former Federal Commissioner for Information and Ijaw National Leader Chief Edwin Clark has made a case for a true federalism to fast-track the socio-economic and political development of Nigeria. He was speaking in Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital, during a courtesy call on the Alake and paramount ruler of Egbaland, Oba Remu Gbadebo, in his palace. While saying that the true federalism will reduce the level of corruption in the country, the Ijaw leader, however, assured that President Goodluck Jonathan would implement the recommendations of the National Conference if elected into office in the next presidential election.
What we want in this country, the unity of this country. Anybody who wants to divide this country is not a Nigerian. We must do things that will keep us together. We must practice federalism, whereby every component of this country will develop at its own pace. There's no reason why we should develop like Osun State at the same time. If you have the resources, go ahead. But today, whether you're practicing federalism or practicing unity form of government, nobody knows. Every power is concentrated in the center. And that's why we have corruption today. But if the powers are shared and there's very little at the center, would there be corruption? No.
Well, the Chibok community says it's rejecting the gesture by the federal government to reconstruct government secondary school Chibok, where over 200 schoolgirls were abducted on the 14th of April 2014. Well, the community insists that the return of their daughters should be priority at this time. At a press conference today attended by over 1,000 indigents of Chibok, the leader of the group, Madam Baana Lawal, says that, in quote, "It is disheartening to inform you that since the abduction of these girls, the federal government did not bother to send delegation to Chibok to sympathize with the parents. Instead, the parents were invited to Abuja and conveyed in cargo military plane with no comfort whatsoever," unquote. Well, the community also frowns at the recent visit by the president to some communities ravaged by Boko Haram, without a similar visit to Chibok to sympathize with the people for the abduction. Well, the Kibaku Area Development Union, an umbrella body for the Chibok community in Borno State today, described as false recent claims by the Borno State Governor, Kashim Shettima, that the community insisted the awards write their final exams in Chibok rather than in Maiduguri, the state capital. Well, chairman of the association, Mr. Jose Sambido, asked the government and his aides to stop blaming the parents and families of the abducted schoolgirls, but should channel their energies towards ensuring that the girls are returned home safely. He also added that making such alleged allegations and statements will only further traumatize the community.
We, the parents, relations, concerned citizens, and members of global communities remain calm in our traumatized state for almost 11 months, waiting for the rescue of our daughters. On Saturday, 28th February 2015, information credited to Secretary to the State Government, SSG, Borno State, on an interview with BBC Hausa service alleged that Chibok community refused to send their daughters to write the final year examinations outside Chibok, saying that the only thing they needed was logistics, and therefore assured that there was adequate security in Chibok. This is also false and malicious, which added more pains to the parents. We, the members of Chibok community resident in Abuja, therefore wish to appeal in a strong term to all individual and government representatives to desist from such unguarded statements that will add more injury to already traumatized parents. At this juncture, we would like to call on all the local, state, and federal governments to collaborate with a view to rescuing our daughters while avoiding blame games.
And in part two, after the break, civil society groups call for prosecution of campaign organizations over massive expenditure. Stay with us.